Markville. Come on in.
My name's Emily.
And my name is Natalie, and we're from the Eco Club.
We would like to first acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories of the Wendat, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee people, whose presence here remains today.
We would also like to acknowledge the First Nations under the Williams Treaty for sharing this land with us, as well as the Chippewas of the Georgina Island for being our closest partner in education.
Now we are going to show you our school's Eco Club and environmental initiatives. Our school has a battery bin where students can bring in their old or corroded batteries to be properly disposed of.
This is our milk bag mat. It is currently in the process of knitting. Here at Markville, we encourage our students to bring in milk bags from home as a way to reuse and reduce waste.
We have goose paper bins all around the school, which teachers and students can use to save paper.
This is the plant wall that is located in our school's library. With the grow lights and regular watering, plants can grow and flourish in here.
We have a 3-part waste system, which includes the garbage, the recycling, and the compost bins.
Hi, a warm welcome from Markville Secondary School. My name is Grace Chong, and I'm a grade 11 student, and this is Ricky Yang, who is a grade 12 student. We are both environmental club members and specialist high skills major students in the environmental sector.
We are fortunate enough to have 2 speakers to chat with us about nature-based infrastructure. We have Joseph Daraio, who is an associate professor in the Department of Civil Engineering at the Memorial University of Newfoundland. Professor Joseph Daraio has done lots of work on flooding. His research team is concerned with the potential impacts of climate change on hydrology and stormwater runoff, and is seeking to develop community-based decision support tools through the integration of models that stimulate the potential impacts of anthropogenic climate change.
We are also fortunate to have Dorothy Grace Blair, DG Blair, who is the Executive Director at the Stewardship Center for British Columbia. DG Blair runs the Green Shores program and works with NatureBased Solutions to create shorelines that are more resilient to the impacts of climate change. DG, could you please tell us about what nature-based infrastructure is and elaborate on a specific initiative or program that focuses on the use of nature-based infrastructure?
Nature-based infrastructure or nature-based solutions are really, fundamentally, I think, looking at how we can work with nature and appreciate those natural assets that nature provides to help ecosystems function effectively. So really the number one thing is with a nature-based approach is to understand, that healthy ecosystem. And if it's not healthy, how can we move to restore that ecosystem to function? And then ultimately, if we have that, then it can help accommodate and help us adapt to climate change. And so in this way, we've created through Green Shores a framework to actually consider ecosystem functions, nature-based solutions to go into a shoreline project. What we find is with this natural infrastructure, nature-based approaches, it's multidisciplinary. So you've got your engineers, you've got your biologists, your landscape architects, your planners, your contractors, et cetera. They're all working together on this project, and they need to work together, and they actually can create a better project by utilizing this multidisciplinary approach. And the Green Shores framework provides that platform for them to create better designs from an ecological perspective.
Why is it important to protect our shorelines and these watershed ecosystems? Why go through all this effort to protect them?
Of course, there's ecosystem values, things like habitat. There's values around looking at those physical attributes of the shore and watersheds. But there's also attributes such sort of in terms of human values, things like recreation, cultural or spiritual values. A lot of people gain sustenance from being in nature. So I think that's the why bother, why it's so important to do this work.
What types of measures are being used to protect coasts, and how do you decide what measures to use?
From an engineering perspective, there's a few different kinds of approaches to take. Well, a couple of things to realize when we're talking about coastal protection is that, we've got the types of things we need to protect against are extreme storms. And these, of course, cause a great storm surge, which can cause inland flooding. And that's, these kind of storms are expected to intensify a bit more with climate change. But on top of that, you've got sea level rise as a result of climate change. One of the projects I'm involved now is looking at using nature-based solutions, using vegetation to protect that very thing. So it would involve, if possible, not developing close to the shore or not doing any hard structures, but using natural processes in order to protect from that extra energy from the storms. And then when we're talking about just sea level rise alone, even without the storms, that's when, the only thing you can do is put up some dikes and start pumping water out like they do in Holland. That much of that country is below sea level. And if folks want to continue to live in these areas, that's what they're going to have to do. There's really no other option.
Was there an urgency in the need to do more about climate change now that it's become more severe and the impacts have more dramatic, more intense?
Because of the increased severity and the importance of the impacts of climate change, I've moved more towards this connection between nature or natural and built. The natural and built environment. And it allows us to recognize the connection between humans' connection with the land and natural processes. And traditional engineering practices are kind of somewhat divorced from that. They don't recognize that connection. And that's changed. And that's where my work is now starting to focus more, is on how do we use natural processes and help work with nature. And understand what it wants to do, like where does the water want to flow, and then develop our solutions with that understanding, so we're not fighting nature, but we're working with nature.
You need to look at something that you find interesting and can tie into your passion. There is a role for a variety of ways that we can all be involved in this work. Through the arts, through science, which is what is my passion, is, science-based decision-making, understanding the science. But I recognize that there are, lots of ways to get there. And I think it's the way of the future, I think.
I would say that I think it's important to keep in mind that no matter what direction you choose, there's always something you can do. So like DG is saying, you follow your passion, and I can say that's kind of what's got me where I am. But I've always tried to make sure that I'm doing something that I feel is important. My advice is just don't forget what you really care about and what's really important, no matter what you choose to do in your life.
Thank you very much for joining us today and helping to further our understanding of the impacts of climate change and the growing importance and sector of green jobs. We greatly appreciate you setting time out of your day to talk to us and provide us with your valuable insights and thoughts.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Our pleasure.